This morning we're starting work on our penetrations. Robert's over half done with his hole. He's working on the sleeve that may eventually be used for propane. So he's putting it about 2 foot down. We'll punch through the foam there and bring it up inside this wall. Well, that's one done. Having a little bit of a problem with this pipe. It's sewer pipe and it's so thin and flexible that whenever we put any force on it, it pops the glued connections. So, for example, this one's popped again. So it's frustrating. I think I'll have to dig it out and re-glue it. But every time we put any pressure on it, it's going to pop. So I'm disappointed in this. Maybe I should have used a Schedule 40 or a tougher pipe. I'm starting a couple of the electrical penetrations. The first will be eventual power out to the house. So this is 2-inch conduit that will pop up just inside the wall. Great, that one's done. Wow, it's hot. It is so hot out here. In any case, I placed this 3/4 inch in from the girts. That 3/4 inch will be plywood that we're using to finish the bottom 8 foot of the interior of this barn. And this pipe should mount directly onto that plywood, so it's easily accessed from the inside. So we can just drop from our breaker box directly down into that for feeding the house. All right, one more to go, but I can't do it. It's too hot. I gotta take a break. Nice. We have 4 penetrations done, a handful more to go. Just to recap, we have the sleeve for our water line and power for the pump. We have a sleeve for a propane line, although I'm not sure we'll ever use it. We have 2-inch conduit coming in from our solar panels carrying high voltage DC. And we have 2-inch conduit going out from the main panel in the barn to the house, supplying 200 amps. The next is going to be the 180-degree boiler insulated PEX piping. So we need to run this thing approximately 27 foot from the boiler to the manifold. The problem is the pipe is an absolute monster. So what we're going to do is we're going to stake out the shape of the pipe that we want and try to mold the pipe into that shape. After a day of heat or so, hopefully it takes that position permanently. We can trench it and just plop it in there and everything is perfect. I don't know. I've heard this pipe at maximum gets about a 3-foot radius for turns. It's not perfect, but if it can hold like this, we'll only have to trench 2 or 3 feet to get from one side to the other. Next, we're going to start constructing a fake wall between this segment here, between these 2 columns. The purpose is to hold one end of that big boiler pipe, and also this wall will have our manifolds on it. So it'll temporarily have our manifolds, and then once the concrete's poured and the framing's done, we'll permanently mount them on this wall. Nice. Next we'll get a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, mount it horizontally there, and we'll use that for all of our mechanical attachments, mount the manifolds, etc. Once the concrete's poured, all this can come off and we'll start framing properly. We're not wasting any wood here. These are our batter boards. So we just put some deck screws through them, which we can take out later and continue to use them, hopefully for years to come. The girts we put here are the right size for this wall. It's not pressure treated lumber, but it's not going to be out here forever, and hopefully we can just put them back on the wall later. So that should go just fine.
The next morning.
Today we're working on the big boiler pipe penetration. Robert made a form that will keep the concrete out of an area under the boiler. It's not a big area. Hopefully it'll be enough to stick that pipe up through. We have a trenching bucket. Never used it. We've left this 2-foot bucket on the backhoe since day one. So I'm gonna take it off. It looks like it's easy to come off. Looks like it's just one little bolt there. And then this guy should slide right out. And that's all that holds this bucket on, I think. So wish us luck. We'll see how it goes. Holy cow. Yeah, this pipe is hard to wrestle. Also, it's really hot. We'll come back after a break.
Many minutes later.
Next, we're gonna run the wire that powers the boiler in this same trench here. I originally planned to put 3/4 conduit across the entire thing, but looking at the code, as long as we use an underground rated wire, we should be able to only use conduit to get it 18 inches underground. That's about as tight as I can get it right now. I think as the sun hits it over the next few days, I can slowly inch forward on those brackets and tighten it up to that board. Maybe even get it like straight up and down, but it's good enough regardless. This little back section is the mechanical room, so it's supposed to look mechanical, so I've heard. Well, this is starting to look pretty good. I'm gonna take the shovel along this grade board here and try to clean it up a bit. Well, that cleaned up okay. And the sprinkler's going again. We've had the sprinkler going every night for, this will be the third night. And we'll have it going for probably the next week. The goal is to remove as much air from the sand as possible to aid compaction. It takes a while, and frankly, I'm not sure it dispenses enough water in any location to truly be effective at the job I'm asking it to do. But it's not gonna hurt. It's definitely not gonna hurt. We still have a fair amount of work to do over here. We're putting in this monstrous pipe about 2 foot deep. And eventually we'll stuff another one of those monster insulated PEX tubes up it so that we can plumb it to the boiler. Eventually, once the house, somewhere way over there, is started, complete, I don't know, something. But we'll get it buried, and that'll be our insurance for the future.